Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 497 at scavengerlife.com.
Ryan, do you want to know how I'm feeling? I have feelings of accomplishment this week.
Okay, good.
I think this is really important to talk about. I mean, just even us together, but I don't know, anyone out there who runs a business. I think it is important to enjoy these feelings when you've been working on something hard.
Yep.
And it's getting close to being finished.
Yeah.
And you start realizing like it's all kind of coming together, you know, and all those like ups and downs and problems and tribulations, you know, have been solved.
Yeah.
And you've made it through to the other side. So specifically like with this coffee business we're doing, I feel like we are now into that stage of our renovation where we're just like, you know, buying chairs and like buying art and
rugs.
Like, you get to pick like what kind of hooks are going to be on the wall. It's like the kind of fun, easy stuff. And I start realizing like it's done. Right?
Well, it's done.
The sheetrock is done.
Yeah.
HVAC is done. Like this will soon be a working property.
The electric is done.
And that really it's like the end of a stage of a project.
Yeah, it's the third stage.
Right.
You know, it's the finishing stage.
Right. But it's also then the beginning of the next stage, which is like the business opening.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're talking to our partners about like when we're actually going to open, which is obviously very difficult right now. If you're hearing this in the future, there's, you know, like a pandemic that is raging through the United States. So trying to open like a public space where people would have to take their masks off to like drink coffee is very difficult to plan.
Yeah.
But anyway, the good news is we personally and our partners will be prepared to be open for it whenever.
Yeah.
It's okay to open.
Yeah.
And that's it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it is kind of amazing. I mean, I don't know if I pictured what it would feel like to get here, you know?
Right.
Like you're just right in the middle of it for so much of the time that you're like, oh, we're actually gonna probably open.
Right. And I can see that this isn't an uncommon feeling to us. I mean, at least not for me. I always try and, you know, see when we're doing good, like when we started on eBay and we were like, hey, we could sell stuff on eBay. I was like, what? People would buy this stuff?
Yeah.
And like, let's go get it. And then we'd start getting piles of stuff. We'd look like hoarders. And we were developing a way to like, how do we list? I mean, we have bags and bags of clothes because that's what we were doing back then. How do we list all this stuff? And we had to figure out.
How do we store it?
You're right. And then how do we store it? And then we were figuring it all out. And then it got to a point where I can remember it too. I remember very clearly. We were actually temporarily staying in a friend's like little guest house.
Yes.
With our inventory and our cats, and it was a very chaotic moment in our life. But I remember we were making about $2,000 a month. Yeah. Which was the number we needed to hit to be like, eBay is paying for all of our bills, and it really felt good. You know? It was not a very logical system, but we had a system that we understood that worked. Right. Of listing and storing and finding things and shipping things, you know. Yeah.
I mean, it's those moments where, you know, you do all this work to get to a point and it's almost like you kind of blank out the purpose because you're like, I just have to get through this stage. It's like with our Airbnbs, like when you finish a renovation and like people start renting and staying there, you're like, oh, we did it.
Like
it's done?
This was the whole point. Like,
we're not just renovating this for no reason.
Right. Like with this coffee shop, like what, we don't have to spend money on this forever. Like we're actually at the point where we don't have to spend much more getting this thing ready. Right. It's pretty much our contribution to getting this place monetarily is almost done, and then, you know, the hope is money then starts coming back to us, and right? You're like,
you're like, this is what it was for.
That's what the investment was for.
It's also for a community space. Like you were there doing some work yesterday all day, actually, and you said there were like so many people trying to come get coffees.
Yep.
You know,
because we have our big sign.
We have the sign already on the building.
We had a local sign painter. He's like a younger guy, and he's like doing the old ways.
Yeah,
and so he like
painted it right on the building.
on the brick. It really looks good. We did it several months ago because we wanted to open when it's probably going to be still cold and he won't be able to paint. So we got it painted when it's still warm. So people see it when they drive by.
And they think it's a coffee shop.
Especially out of towners. Yeah. And so it's a good feeling, and I always go and open the door and just say hi to them, and like we actually have a sign that explains when we're
but nobody reads the sign.
Open. But you know, and along with this feeling, or at least for us, a feeling of like accomplishment. We've been having these conversations already when we take our walks in the evening.
Yes, that's our time.
When we stroll along the Hawksbill Creek, we ask ourselves, do we want to start on another project?
Oh my God! You know, how crazy are we?
Because and I remember too when we got to where we were selling $2,000 a month on eBay, we would question ourselves like, so should we keep building the business?
Right. What do we do?
Do we how many items do we want in our store? I mean, I hear people in our community talk about that. Like, how big of a store do you want? You know, do you? And that's a good question. Yeah. You know, I mean, we chose to keep growing our eBay store till we built a $20,000 warehouse behind our house. 20 by...
Hey, that building is so useful.
By 40.
For so many reasons.
But then for us, I can confidently say we are at the exact right size we want to be.
Right. This size works for us.
Like, I'm not thinking like, oh, we're going to outgrow that building. We're gonna buy, like,
this is the right... That's
good.
Like, we kind of like...
we found our
leveled
limit.
off. We're like, that's a good limit. We can have less.
Right.
We can have a little bit more. But this is...
We could still grow. We could probably get twice as big in our eBay store in our current building.
Yeah, we could.
If we got rid of a bunch of other stuff in there.
Just wood, and we keep a lot of our rental supplies out there.
I like my wood.
I know and when we say wood, we don't mean firewood. We mean like wood for building and creating things.
Right.
You don't build things, but you keep the wood for other people to build.
Yeah, and I will say in our coffee shop, it's such a satisfying thing. We'd been gathering, we'd see on Craigslist some old houses getting torn down. We'll go and get all the wainscoting, or it's just. I think with HGTV, people see all that stuff now. It's like it's a thing. I get all this beautiful wood, and then I'm like, what are we going to do it on? And the coffee shop we used. I don't know if we posted any.
Oh, I don't think so yet.
We use this wainscoting. It looks so good. Yeah. And then we used. All this other wood that I had, and I still have so much.
There's still so much
cool
in the back.
Vintage wood, but it's anyway.
Well, it got used. I mean, that was. It was funny because we've been holding on to that wainscoting, also known as beadboard, for so long. But we were like, what are we going to do with this? And it just looks so...
But just like our eBay store, if you're patient enough and you're willing to hold on to it enough, because I think I've been holding on to it for 7 years, we'll always find a way.
But it looks so beautiful.
But I do, just to kind of wrap up this part of the thought.
Wrap it
up. It's good to work hard. Trials and tribulations. We cry a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. That's just part of starting a business, and then it's good to have that feeling of accomplishment. But then, then it's about it's like we've climbed the mountain, and then you're like, there's more mountains.
Like this is not the top of the mountain,
but maybe we're cool. Let's just build our home right here. I don't know. It's
choices.
I feel like with eBay, we are at the place we want to be. Like, this is about as big as we want to get. We have room to grow. Like we found a bunch of cool stuff. We have room for. We could handle it. But I don't want. We have one person helping us take pictures. It's like I don't need 5 people. And it's interesting when I hear other people who are like, yeah, I mean, I rented like a giant warehouse.
Right.
I have 10 people working for me.
Yeah.
I'm buying stuff every day at auctions. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Well, but I mean, look, it's also, I don't want to do that because what did I do yesterday? Well, I listed a bunch of stuff on eBay, but I also shipped coffee and I shipped eBay and I did laundry and put laundry out. Like, we have other business. And I started editing a video for one of our clients. So it was like, when you're not just doing one thing, you know, if we were just doing eBay too, right, I would probably fill my time with eBay, you know, of course. Well, but we're not.
I know.
So
the nice thing is about having a multiple streams of income is that there's always a fallback. Like when you really get frustrated, you've told me before, I just want to sell everything. Let's get rid of everything. And I just want to sell on eBay. And I just want to sit here and list with my cats. And that's, you know, hey, it's a choice.
I did that yesterday.
Basically. But speaking of, so with the feeling of finishing this coffee shop, it's going to be open. It's going to take 6 months to a year from now. We're going to be speaking January 2022. Yeah. And we'll be able to say how that coffee shop went because we're going to put a significant amount of time showing up. We're going to be making coffee. Yep. Can I help you? Okay. Would you like
giving a little snacks and food? Yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah. So the question is, and we don't have an answer for it.
What's next?
Are we done doing renovations?
I'm pretty sure the answer. Are you not pretty sure the answer?
Well, what's the answer?
Are we done? Question mark. No, I don't think we are. I literally, this is something I was doing yesterday on my computer, which I didn't tell you. I was like writing up a plan for like another business that we've talked about.
What?
In quotes, not our business, but something we would make one of our buildings into.
Wow.
The cobbler shop building. So cool. I was like typing up like what the plan / partnership / collaboration would be for that one.
But something I do want to remind you, and I think that this is good, and this is like, I'm not even thinking about the podcast, it's just you. Yeah. This is like, though, good to us to recognize that anything we do from here on out is a choice.
Yes.
So if we choose to take on another project, which can be stressful and cost us money. Yeah. It's because we're choosing to do it.
Right. We want to do it.
So, it's good to be like
no one's making you do this.
Right. No one's making us do this. Like
you don't have to. Right. I mean, there are times when, you just are in the thick of it and you're just like, why does anybody do this? It's nuts.
But, just like with eBay, though, it is interesting, like when you get a system going.
Yeah, right.
You're like, why should I stop?
Why would I stop?
Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess at some point you just feel like, okay, Yeah. A system's great, but I'm not.
I don't want to do it.
It's anymore. Taking more of my energy than it's giving back.
Yeah.
So. All right, that's fine.
that's fine.
So eBay.
Yes,
the
point of this podcast.
Right. I need you to give me a little bit of a runway here to talk about something.
When don't I give you a lot of runway?
I'll try and keep this short and sweet. So I love to hear people talk on our forum about their businesses, and some people are willing to share. Everyone's like pretty much anonymous. Like these, I don't really know anyone's name. They're just like go by like little nicknames. Yeah. Like I don't know where people live, so I don't think I'm talking out of turn or telling anyone like their personal business, and they're posting it on the internet publicly, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is one guy, Simplicio,
in Canada, right?
He's in Canada. I do know that.
Canada.
He really just has a super interesting business. I don't know a whole lot about it, but from what I gather. And this was going back to the other day when I was saying, like, I try and identify with other sellers and not compare. Because if I compare, I'm just like, he's doing so much better. Yeah. Like, I'm such a loser. I just identify like, he's like doing this cool thing. Like, I don't want to do that, but I can appreciate what he does. Yeah, and I can like maybe borrow some
learn
interesting
some
things.
stuff from.
Because we've talked about it, that there is like a scavenger equation.
Yes.
And that equation is like the cost of goods.
Right.
So how much it costs you to go buy stuff. Your patience.
Right.
Are you willing to sit on things for them to sell? Or are you really impatient and like things have to sell like this week?
Right.
Your storage. That's another part of the equation.
Do you have storage?
Are you working out of like a second bedroom in your house?
Right. And that's all you have?
And that's like your thing? Or are you willing to take over the basement?
Yeah.
Build a building?
Do you have to rent a space? Like, that's a cost.
And then, how much things sell for. So are you finding things that are like, is it like a Amazon kind of thing where things are selling for $5?
Right.
Or are you doing things where you're selling things for like $500?
Yeah.
So those are all parts of the equation. And that's why all of our stores can be different. All of our stores can be fine. It's just we each have to figure out, because that right there creates a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So for instance, Simplicio, I'm probably saying it wrong, but okay, that's the way I'm going to say it. He goes to auctions and buys industrial parts. That's what I've gathered.
Okay.
I don't know what it's like.
It's a mystery.
Like elevator parts, or I don't know. It's parts, but when he posts his numbers, it's not uncommon for him to sell $5,000 worth of inventory in a week.
Right. You're like, those are big ticket items.
Compared to, and he might only sell like 20 things. I mean, so he's making a lot of money.
Right.
And he's selling oftentimes fewer items, but each item he can be making $800 on an item. You know? And it's really impressive. And we were talking there were several of us talking about like, we show our numbers every week. Yeah. We started doing this in like 2013 or something. Yeah. Because I was getting frustrated when I would see other resellers, mainly on YouTube and mainly people who sold on Amazon. They would share screenshots of their like Amazon account. Yeah. And it would just show their gross profit. And it always kind of bugged me because I didn't feel like it was giving a true version.
It was their gross numbers.
So I put like kind of a lazy man's, what everyone sees
just
on.
General
if
numbers.
you go to scavengerlife.com every week from back to 2013, you can see our weekly numbers. And I try and it's really like a lazy man's version of accounting where I just show like our first sales, cost of items sold, cost of helpers, so you can kind of see what we make. Right. And if you imagine
it's not $5,000 a week.
eBay, and when we were doing PayPal, eBay takes about 25% of that. Yeah. You can kind of imagine how much is in our pocket. Well, he does those numbers too. He does them in a little bit of a different way that works for him, where he's really about cash flow because he makes a lot of money and sells things for much higher than we do. But we were talking, he pays so much money in inventory costs. So we have not done our yearly taxes yet.
Not yet.
But soon. I would be surprised if we spent more than $5,000 on inventory in 2020.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when I go to auctions, I mean, if we spend $500, if we spend $1,000, it's just like
what's going
front page
on?
news. My truck is like Beverly Hillbillies. I've like strapped, there's like 30 boxes and furniture. Yeah. Oftentimes, some of that stuff we will put in our rental, so it's not really
like rugs stuff. And stuff like that.
So anyway, that's part of our equation is that we don't spend a lot of money on our inventory. Right. We're patient. Right. And we do okay. He said $35,000 American dollars. I think it was like 45 Canadian just on inventory. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
$3,000 a month.
But how much is he making?
Right. So that's why for him, when he does his numbers, he shows his cash flow. Right. Because he may have sold $5,000 in like elevator parts. Right. Which I'm just like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But he may have also spent $4,000 that week at an auction
on other stuff,
buying like airplane propellers
Right.
or something, you know? So,
Yep.
so for him, he needs to have a lot of cash on hand.
Right.
Our
to
business
buy
is
stuff.
different because, yeah, if I go to an auction and I'm all in, I may spend $1,200, and we always have $1,200. Like I'm not worried about cash flow.
We have a savings.
What's concerning to me is I come home and I have 30 boxes and furniture all tied to my truck. I'm like, where am I going to put this?
Yeah.
And how are we going to put all this stuff up on our store?
Yeah,
like this is going to take a
it
long time to list.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
And for him, I think he sells a lot of, he'll buy $4,000 in parts, but there might only be 3 SKUs.
Exactly.
I don't know it's for sure, but that's just what I imagine.
It's in bulk.
And people like him.
Right.
He's, so for him, $4,000 is a lot of money to spend on one auction, but he only has 3 SKUs, and he could, in half an hour, these are modern items too, so there might be barcodes or there's like
part numbers. Yeah.
So he, in just like half an hour over a plate of, what's his, poutine, he has all those items up on his store already.
Yeah.
And he could sell them the next day.
Right.
Whereas we don't spend a lot of money on inventory. I bring all this stuff home. It may take us 3 months.
Right, to get
all that stuff up because it's all vintage, no barcode, rare.
Some of it,
individual
I'm like, I have no
items.
idea even what this thing is.
There's no multiples.
Yeah.
So his store, our store, they both work. We both made a choice as to what kind of store we want, and again, we all just have to find the right equation,
Yeah. And
that's a new T-shirt. So, what's your equation?
Oh my God!
What's your scavenger equation?
You're like the worst. I mean, the whole point is to have a store that you're interested in. Like, I wouldn't want to have a store like that.
Right.
And he probably wouldn't want to have a store like me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you sold a crystal vase, like, that was for $30.
Right. Like, what is all of this junk?
Yeah.
When,
I think that too sometimes.
And that there's plenty of sellers that, I don't know, they would come on and argue all the time with me about how dumb our business is because,
in
they're
the beginning.
Because they were the kind of guys who were just like, I just want to buy like $500 items of the same thing, put up a SKU.
Put up one. Yeah.
Like, they're like, I go to a flea market, I buy a carload of stuff, I list it while I'm sitting in the parking lot, I'm already shipping by the time I'm home.
Are you making fun of those people, Jay?
No, I'm not making fun of them. I'm just like, I don't know.
It's just not the way we do it.
It's just when
everybody does it differently.
Right.
That's the theme of the day. And that's fine.
Right.
Like you said, it's not about like comparing and being like, oh, we're not like that, we must be a failure. We're like, oh, it's interesting that he does it that way. Huh.
Yeah.
I bet I could learn some stuff.
Do I want to be like that?
Do I want to do
like,
that?
Maybe
yes or no?
I just dump all this stuff and let's just do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Our numbers.
Yes, speaking of selling stuff.
Our gross sales.
Yes.
$1,080.57, not including shipping.
It was a little bit slow.
Our goal is to gross $1,000 a week.
Which we made.
We made barely our goal.
Yeah.
It was just slow. It was just kind of,
It's really funny because, like, just a side note, I was talking to my sister yesterday. She works at, like, a high-end boutique.
It's like home goods and jewelry.
It's like home goods and books and jewelry, like amazing, incredible, beautiful stuff. And she called me on the phone yesterday while she was walking home from work, and she's like, we were both saying retail is so weird because there'll be times where it's super slow, and then, in the holidays it's so crazy, and then right off the holidays it's slow, and then yesterday she's like, I sold like several $1,000s worth of jewelry at her. She didn't own the store, but she works there. And she's like, I don't know why. Like 4 people came in and just like bought engagement rings and like gold necklaces. And it's just funny because it's like that on eBay too, where you're like, there's some weeks that you're like, this is crazy. I'm having sales all day long in the middle of January. And then there's days where you're just like, we did not sell a single thing today.
I sold
an $11 t-shirt, you know, like, why do I even have an $11 t-shirt? I don't know, but I do. So yeah, retail and eBay are also so funny like that. You know, you're like, how do you know why? Why was the week like this? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's why
it's a mystery.
And that's just why with, you know, when I hear people, new sellers especially, who get really worried about their sales, they're like, I didn't sell anything all day.
Right.
My store is over with. No one will ever buy. You know,
they'll never come back.
You got to fill up your store enough, so there's always something to find.
Yeah.
And you'll hit a number to where you'll have daily sales.
Yeah.
And that's just...
Exactly.
And if you aren't, then you maybe you think find something else.
Maybe you need to diversify.
If you're just selling something specific, maybe not enough people want that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like things we sold, like our biggest sale was a brass kettle, like for $125.
And when we say kettle, I mean it was like an apple butter bucket kettle thing.
Yeah, not like not
know like a tea kettle.
Where we are, people are really into apple butter. Not like a giant one. Those
not like a cauldron.
Hundreds and hundreds and $100. It's like it would be like a stovetop.
Yeah. It was big though. I mean, I had to put it in a big box. It sold for what, 100?
125.
Yeah, like I love a sale like that.
I think we've had it for at least a year.
A couple of years. Yeah. I think you took a picture of it. Yeah. So that was a few years.
We sold some markers for $120. It was like a guy.
Is a woman.
Oh, a woman.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just assume. So it's a woman. I don't know. Just in my head, I was thinking. Bought a bunch of different markers from us, and this is from, it's been, again, 4 years ago. Yeah. I found 2 shopping baskets at the Goodwill. Carts. I filled it up.
You went back the next day.
Of vintage markers.
Yeah.
And so, and people collect markers. These are slow sellers, though.
Now, these ones were overhead projector markers that she was actually going to use in her classroom. Wow. That was her whole, which is so funny because I'm like, why would you buy vintage ones that are used when you could just buy them on Staples or Amazon? I didn't understand it. But here's a good example of someone asking for a deal and like going through the details of the deal so that I say yes. Mm-hmm. She was like, I want every single color you have of these overhead markers. I can pay $20 a box plus shipping.
Instead of $40.
Right. Because these are like, collector's items, whatever. But she added it up. She's like, that's $120 in your pocket.
In your pocket right now.
And like she had asked me a couple weeks ago, and I had kind of been like, no, because she hadn't really given me specific numbers. I was just like, you can make an offer. But it was interesting how she was smart, where she laid it out for me, and I was like, oh, I'll take $125.
She made the deal easy.
Yeah, she made it easy for me.
Instead of like people that are like, that thing's a piece of junk. Like,
what's your best price?
I wouldn't pay $5 for that, but I'll give you $7.
Yeah, and so I thought that was a really good example of someone laying it out. And then I was like, cool, because I make offer on those. I said, make an offer on every single one for $20. I'll accept them, and I'll send you a combined shipping invoice. And that's what we did. It was great.
Yep.
I was like, thank you.
We sold an 1800s Valentine's Day card. For $30
to someone in Great Britain.
Maybe somebody's going to give a Valentine's Day
if it gets
card
there
for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was like a pop-up card. It was like a Victorian pop-up Valentine. It was really cute. I love selling stuff like that.
And it's interesting. We know sellers that specifically sell ephemera.
Yeah, so that's like paper ephemera.
Where they have, and they'll have like thousands of items on eBay.
Yeah.
Little pieces of paper, cards, postcards, pictures.
And I'm sure their inventory is like 2 filing cabinets.
Like there's one lady I know in Long Island, and when she does post her numbers, I mean, she'll sell like 200 items in a week.
Yes.
Of ephemera.
It's amazing. I like ephemera. Like I used to always think it was like so worthless, but it's not.
I think it's interesting, but it's a small part of our store because I think the overwhelming part is listing it. Yeah. So, it's you can go buy 10 boxes of ephemera.
It's a lot.
There are hundreds and hundreds of pieces of paper in each of those boxes.
Right. And you're like, what?
You have to go through each one, and you have to like do some research and list it. It's a
and
lot.
how are you grouping it? Like we had a bunch of letters from a local family, like a mom and dad. And I was like, how do I group these? Like, these are love letters from before they got married. These are from their kids when their kids went to college. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, I guess you got to figure out how you're selling them. Or here's one letter from, some important kind of letter that
if you have to really be into it, it's just like our friend, what is it, Spend a Cheater?
Yeah.
Who sells only postcards.
How many postcards? He has like 20,000?
I think that's just on eBay, but he also just has like, when he goes to like postcard conventions, he's so into it. He's so passionate. He's so knowledgeable, and it's so awesome, and he does really well. And it's just not, I could never do that.
Yeah,
like, I don't
it's like
have,
a different kind of stuff.
I don't have the passion for postcards that he
or the
does.
patience, yeah.
So it's just like, again, I can identify, I can appreciate.
Yes.
I can learn some stuff from him.
Absolutely.
I don't have to be his store. He can appreciate it what I do. He may even be hearing this, hey, in Maryland, but but he doesn't have to sell like we do.
But also, like someone like him, you really learn how to do inventory from. Seriously, because if you screw up your inventory, you're never finding that postcard again.
Customer issues. We did not scavenge anything this week. We have been eating into, again, talking about.
I thought we bought stuff at the place. Was that this week or last week?
I feel like that was. Anyway, I don't know. The last time we bought, I thought we talked about it last week, was because your mom was here this week. So
my mom brought me a bunch of her inventory. I guess we didn't really scavenge that. She brought it to us because she's cleaning out all her like big bulky inventory.
She brought us stuff that she never put on eBay.
A bunch of it hasn't been on eBay, so that was much appreciated.
Yeah, we haven't even gone through it.
I know, that's the whole thing.
Customer issues. This is like a positive note. Someone new to eBay. We were the first thing they ever bought. They bought a couple plates. Yeah. We get a message from them, and they're like, there's some chips on these. How do I return them to you? And you were really good. You told the buyer, check out the photos and the description. I show these 2 chips. I told you about them. So if you want to return them, you can. But it was described, And the person said, I apologize. I didn't know that. I'll just chalk this up to
a learning experience. Wow. You're like, what? They had like one feedback. And I was like, sure, I'll take a return. But I took photos of it, put it in the item condition and in the description that they were like these tiny little.
I think people call them like flea bites.
Yeah, it was like these tiny little. But I did describe them as such. So,
but that was again.
But most people would just return it anyway. I don't know, but
now I'm hoping we're kind of everyone in this country is now towards the end of the package problem. Are things getting
so here's the deal. So I am seeing things from the beginning of December still moving. Wow. Yes. I had someone message me a couple times.
2 or 3 people.
Yeah, it was just a handful, not even like 2 things that just were not getting scanned. And they were like, where is this? Is it lost? And I said, I don't think it's lost. I think that stuff is still backed up at certain hubs and it's going to get scanned. One of them is this brass tray that I sent to Connecticut. It got scanned like the day after, so I kept updating her saying, this got scanned in New Jersey, so it's coming to you. It got to her yesterday.
One of the buyers opened a case, which is fine.
I said it was fine. I was like, it's fine. I know it's on its way. It got scanned on the 28th.
Right.
But I understand why you would open a case,
right. And they were, both of them were good. They were just like, I know it's not your fault, but where is this thing?
And I just look, there is stuff that has been sitting somewhere. Now, the other thing too is, which is an issue, I sent stuff out on, I think it was December 9th, and that stuff is super delayed for some reason. Everything else after it has been moving and delivered. There was like a little chunk of that week where stuff just did not get to our hub, or it got to the hub, but it didn't leave the hub. So I'm like, why is this still happening? So I feel like other sellers are going to jump on here and say, yeah, half my stuff is like moving and delivered, and a chunk of my stuff is like just sitting in a warehouse.
And I do want to remind people, we love the United States Postal Service.
Yeah, we do.
And the men and women out there who are working. We know it's not an easy job.
I know it's not their fault. It's just frustrating when people are asking for their money back. And you're like, I swear it's on its way. I know it is.
We did have one buyer who like bought something on a Monday and then Wednesday opened up a case.
I don't know how they were able to open
where is
case.
my item? And they opened up a not.
And they paid media mail for it. I'm like, dude, on a regular week, this is going to take at least 9 days to get to you.
Yeah. It is funny when people choose the cheapest way to ship something.
Especially media.
And they can often be the most aggravating.
Where is
because
it?
They're like, they want express overnight priority service, but they want to pay for parcel,
And media.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Okay, let's take the comments or questions that people sent this week.
Okay. You can email us an audio file from your phone. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com. Or you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Jason in Kansas. I just ordered some more coffee. My mom will be very excited. It's yet another kind, so I love all the variety that you have. And I keep telling her to pick her favorite, but she just order a different one. So I will. On your last podcast, you guys talked about boxes and organizing boxes. The girl that left the message said that, she said she had way too many of one size, and so she got rid of them, and she got down to like 5 of the size that she would keep, and that's great. But what do you do with all the boxes that you're getting rid of? Do you just throw them in the recycle bin and let them pile up somewhere in a warehouse, or do you pull the tape off, break them down flat, take them to the farmhouse, rake back the mulch, lay them down, and put the mulch back over as a weed barrier so you don't have to do as much lawn care on your rental properties or on your main property? Food for thought. Thanks for what you do, and have a great week.
Okay, just to be clear, I almost never get rid of boxes. That's us. And if I do get rid of boxes, I either, like you said, compost them, put them on our garden beds, or burn them.
I feel like we're getting close to box overload.
Yeah.
And I keep being worried, but we seem to sell enough weird things that we're able to eat into it.
I have started breaking boxes down.
But yeah, like I use boxes on my garden beds, so I right now my garden beds are covered in cardboard to keep, so the worms are warm under there. It's still working. And then I'll uncover it.
But like just today, you brought a bunch of boxes from the coffee shop of like little things we were using, and I'm either going to ship stuff in them, or if they're not usable for shipping, we burn them in the.
I also tear up pieces of box to help start our fire.
Start the fire, exactly. Yeah,
no, I mean those are
almost never do boxes just go to the recycling center.
Yeah,
in our house.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Leroy. And I'm calling from Fresno, California, and I've been selling on eBay since '97, and I've been listening to the Scavengers since Jay and Wendy. And I started an Airbnb and really enjoy the show, listen to it whenever I can. My Airbnb recently got burned down in the California Creek Fire, but before that happened, I was having a similar issue with the internet. And I found a device called an international power controller that was very popular in the heyday of dial-up internet. And basically, it's a device that listens to the telephone line, and on the 5th or 6th or 7th ring, it will power cycle, and they use these in modem banks because the modem would not auto answer after a while; it'd get hung up. And so if somebody was calling and trying to connect, and the modem didn't pick up soon enough, then the modem got rebooted by this device. And you can find these. It's called an International Power Controller, or IPC. And you can find them on eBay for usually about $60. And it worked for us because we had to have DSL, so we had to pay for a phone line even though we didn't want a phone in our Airbnb. So if anybody complained about the internet, all I had to do was call the phone number that nobody knew and that there was no telephone attached to, and on the seventh ring, all of the electronics would be rebooted. A very simple solution. You could even post a note if the internet goes down, call this number and let it ring 7 times. Anyway, love the show and always like hearing you guys podcast every week. Bye.
Wow, that's so interesting because we also have DSL over there. So I wonder if that is a way to do it. I did buy a Wi-Fi connected outlet that has a timer. You know, if it's Wi-Fi connected and the Wi-Fi goes down, I can't really do anything. But if I like have it reboot, you know, every night at 4 a.m.,
right,
I might just do that.
So they sell them, you said, for like lights and stuff.
Yeah, like
so if you go out of town or something.
Yeah, and they're also controllable over the internet. So you're like, I want to make sure that lights are on before I get home tonight.
Right.
Power on.
But what we could do is just set an automatic schedule where it's just like turns on, turns off.
Right.
Like,
that's all I do when I go over there is I go into the app or unplug it and reboot it and then start it, you know, up 5 minutes later, and it seems to clear out the cache or whatever. I do want to say I'm so sorry to hear that your Airbnb burned down in the California Creek fire. That is devastating.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm wondering if you have insurance and you have another Airbnb. Of course, I'm curious about that. So, but thank you. I am going to look this up because this is interesting. I do have a phone number associated with that account, even though we don't have a phone line over there. There is a phone line just for the DSL, and there is a phone number. I should try to call it and see what happens. I don't really know.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. This is Brian from Illinois. I got a question for you about Pirate Ship. I used it for the first time this week. I think I saved $1.50 or so on postage, which was nice, but I don't know. I think maybe I'm doing it the hard way. Do you have to go there and copy and paste the address from PayPal or eBay or somewhere and put it into Pirate Ship? I know they accept Excel uploads, but maybe I'm doing it the hard way. And also, I was looking, I still use GoDaddy bookkeeping. I don't think I can suck the expenses from Pirate Ship into that bookkeeping software, but how do you handle that part of it as well? Thanks.
Okay, number one, there's a sync option with eBay on Pirate Ship. So all you have to do is give Pirate Ship permission to sign into your store, and you can just sync. There's like an import button. It's kind of like InkFrog or 6bit or like any of those that you like give eBay permission to kind of grab your info. So that's what I do. So anything that needs to be shipped, there's a list of it. And then once you print labels for those things, they come off of the list. So that's way easier than typing in your addresses or uploading an Excel sheet. Don't do that. The second part is for GoDaddy bookkeeping. I mean, for Pirate Ship, I pay for all the labels with my credit card. So I just use that as like an expense. You're like, you know, how you can teach like your bookkeeping software, hopefully if it works. You know, every time you see Pirate Ship on this credit or debit card, that's a shipping expense. Like, that's how I do it with our bookkeeping. So it should be that easy.
Hi, Scavenger Life. This is Laura in Kansas City. I'm a new listener. However, I feel like an old listener because I've listened to hours of you guys. Thank you for everything that you do. You guys inspire me. I'm just calling to tell you about my newest find. I was at an estate sale and I bought a bag of matches from a guy. It's like 100 boxes of matches. And several of them are from Air Force One. I've got them all posted on eBay and have a lot of interest. Hopefully I'm going to make some money on that. I just thought it was a fun thing to buy. I wasn't looking to profit off of that. But anyway, thanks for all you do. Keep up the good work. I wish I was a coffee drinker, and I will buy your coffee. But I'm not. I'm a Diet Coke drinker. Take care.
Diet Coke drinker.
Wow, it's so weird. People don't drink coffee.
They get their caffeine elsewhere, man. They want that cold bubbly.
Yeah, I wonder how old those matches are, if you can date them, because I wonder if they still do match. Like people don't smoke on airplanes anymore.
I have some matches. People collect those for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, like, let's say you're now President-elect Biden.
Right.
And you're on Air Force One.
You're not lighting a match?
Is he handing out matches to people? Like, why do you need matches? So I wonder if it's like maybe from, people stopped smoking on planes in the
80s or 90s? 80s?
I think it was the 90s.
People smoked on planes in the 90s? How can that be?
I want to say it got to be where there was like a smoking section. I think
that was the 80s. We got to Google it because I was, a young teenager in the 90s and I was flying places like to summer camp and stuff. And there's no way anyone was
I just remember when I moved to New York, and I was there 2000 and it was, what's his name? Bloomberg was the mayor.
Yeah.
And he was the first mayor in the whole country.
Yeah.
To ban smoking inside of like restaurants and inside of places. And people were like, this is nuts. Like, this guy's insane.
Yeah.
And then it was like finally someone said something logical and everyone was like, like, great. People smoke in your house, smoke outside, that's fine. But like,
don't smoke in places other people
don't smoke
are.
inside. And anyway, why am I talking?
I don't know, but
Good luck.
I think.
Please call back. I'd love to know how much Air Force One
matches go for. Those are pretty neat.
That's really interesting.
Okay, that's all the calls we had this week.
Cool. Just because I got to throw it in there, I was kind of, when Ryan was answering those things, I was entering the orders that we need to fulfill after we do this podcast. Coffee orders. People have been buying at broadporchcoffee.com.
Guess what? I was roasting.
That's my pitch. And it's good. I mean, the nice thing is we're talking about retail sales.
Right.
We're doing so well during Christmas. And you could tell people were buying presents.
For coffee, yeah.
Now we're selling to people who are like, they drink coffee for a living.
Basically.
I salute you.
2-pound bags.
So most of the orders we're having are like 2-pound bags. People buying 2-pound bags.
That is a serious coffee drinker.
One guy bought 4 pounds from us like 2 weeks ago. He's buying again. I'm like, I salute you.
Yeah,
you are like, that's
you're like our level
to drink coffee. So good. So we appreciate anyone out there who would like to try some of our coffee, or if you've learned to enjoy our coffee, you keep buying.
Like I said earlier, the coffee we're shipping.
That's right.
Was roasted by me.
Yep.
Don't blame me.
We did our experiment this week where we had, just in case our partner Phil, if he was ever not around, you can now roast, and I'm your little elf helper.
Yes. Bagging,
pouring beans,
grinding
getting things
beans.
ready, grinding, getting everything ready. We're a good team.
Yep.
We're a good team in life and in love.
And in coffee.
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to order coffee this week, do it. broadporchcoffee.com. Yay!
This podcast is ending in
3, 2, 1. Bye.